Chapter 1. Humble Beginnings.
10? Yes, Simon, I want you to count to 10.
The school counselor asked patiently.
10,
I replied.
No, Simon, I want you to count to 10. 10! You know, start at 1, then 2, and then count to 10.
The counselor countered, trying to lead me to the answer.
1, 2, and 10.
I replied with an expression like I had just discovered the secret to nuclear fusion.
What number comes after 2? 10,
I replied triumphantly. The counselor sighed and spent a brief moment looking at her notepad.
Okay, Simon, you are doing really well,
she blandly stated. Then, talking more slowly to me now than before, she continued.
Let's try something else. What day of the week is it? Today?
I stated.
Yes, Simon. What day of the week is today? I don't know,
I replied with a confused look on my face. The counselor took a moment to write down more stuff on her notepad, then looked at me sympathetically.
I think I have all the information I need. Let's go get your mom in and talk things over. Does that sound good to you?
Not waiting for my reply, she got up from the chair, opened the door, and asked my mother in. My mother sat down in the chair next to mine as the counselor made her way back behind her desk. It took a little effort because the room was very cramped, and the counselor was on the larger side.
Now, Miss Zane, let me start by saying you have a very sweet little child. I look forward to getting to know him better and working with him in the future.
My mother's expression changed from anxiousness to confusion. My child is very sweet?
Yes, don't you think so?
The counselor replied. Wanting to get directly to the matter at hand, my mother ignored the question and asked about the results of my test. The counselor tightened her lips and cut straight to the chase.
Your son is mildly retarded.
She then quickly continued.
But with the right tutoring, I think there is a chance he'll be able to have a fairly normal life as an adult. It's good to catch issues like this early, so we can still have a chance to positively affect the outcome.
My mother was now incredulous. Simon is not retarded.
No, Miss Zane, he is mildly retarded, which is much different. As I said, there is still a chance we can get him to the point where he can hold down a job, though usually people with low IQs have menial jobs.
What you are saying makes no sense at all. My son is very smart.
Every parent thinks their child is smart,
the counselor condescended.
My job is to make sure every child has an opportunity to be educated to the best of their ability, and to do that, we need to know what they are capable of learning. Simon is 8 years old and cannot count to 10, which to me is concerning.
My mother quickly countered. Of course he can count to 10. He just didn't want to.
I am not going to argue with you, Miss Zane. I have been doing this for a long time, and as I said, my job is to do what is best for Simon. My findings will go into his permanent record, but will help him learn up to his capabilities and possibly reevaluate him a few years from now.
With that, the meeting was over. My mother constrained herself from arguing with the counselor further. After sitting there this whole time with a grin on my face, I asked my mom if we could go to Burger King. I was really hungry. How about you count to 10 for the counselor, and then I'll take you to Burger King?
Ah!
I started screaming. Alarmed, the counselor sternly told my mother that she was being cruel to me, and would note it in her report. Embarrassed by my sudden tantrum, she relented and told me, Fine, we'll go to Burger King. I immediately stopped screaming and went back to grinning. Manipulating adults was fun. Burger King was my favorite restaurant. I ate my ketchup-drenched fries slowly to make them last, but the Whopper was too good, so I couldn't help but eat it quickly. My bliss was rudely interrupted by my mother when she told me that I would have to go back to the counselor's office the next day to count to 10 and recite the days of the week.
I can't,
I replied simply. Why not? She asked.
Because today is Friday, and there is no school on Saturday.
So you do know the days of the week, my mother said accusingly.
Duh.
Why didn't you cooperate with the counselor? You being retarded is now part of your permanent record.
Partially retarded,
I corrected her. I give up. My mother sighed, resigned to our fate. After a few moments of silence, I finished my last fry. I thought about asking for another order, but decided not to. At some point, I'd push my mom too far and get a beating. It's always a fine line to push her right up to that point, but not over. It's an art, really. It's going to be very hard for you to get a good job with this on your permanent record, my mother finally continued.
Don't need a job. I have $22 that great-grandpa gave me last time we went to visit him.
Looking a little confused, she said, Wait, Grandpa gave you $50 in silver half-dollars, not 22.
Well, that's how much I have left. I use it when I need something at the stationery store.
The stationery store was in downtown Demarest, and what I really meant was that I used it to buy candy there. My mother knew this, so questions followed. Wait, you're using your silver half-dollars to buy candy? Those were meant for you to save. Maybe you are retarded.
Maybe I'll start screaming again,
I threatened. After sitting there for a few more moments in silence, I finished my meal and asked if I could get another order of fries.